Hey guys, Sandy here. Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another fun video using some Brutus Monroe products. Now I've pulled out my Aqua Pigments, which I have quite the collection of, so I'm going to set those over to the side and show you what else I am using. So I have the Fall Florals stamp set. I think I might use this mum right here. I've got the fall card panels, which I am going to actually use some deco foil with. That's deco foil and Brutus Monroe. I have green sketch and orange sketch, so I think I'm going to do one on each. And then I also have this stencil, which is the wood 6x6 stencil. Now I think I'm going to create a fun background, so I've pulled out this watercolor 12x12 sheet of paper, and I'm actually going to document a chocolate candy factory that we went to for our anniversary. We had an anniversary trip and this was one of the things that we did. So let's see what I can do. Okay guys, so I started off by using some really fun deco foil over top of these card panels. Now the beautiful thing about Brutus Monroe card panels is that they come ready to go to foil. You don't have to do anything to treat them, to make them foil ready. You just throw the foil right on top of it, move it through your foil machine, and you are ready to go. Now they could really make some beautiful cards, but as you guys know, I prefer to use my products for scrapbooks, so that is what I am doing now. Now I am also taking some Aqua Pigments, and it kind of looks like this is one big mess. And I do make a little bit of a mess, but it's okay, we're just gonna wipe that up. And then I'm gonna take my my splat brush. This is a brush that I use to do this particular technique with. Don't tell my mom, she would be cringing and slap my hands if she saw that this is how I treated a brush. Now I only use this brush to do this technique. I don't do it with any other brushes, so I have one brush that I basically mutilate to get this kind of mottled background effect. It kind of reminds me, you guys, of the old plastic bag technique you used to do faux finishing on your walls. But this is in some nice fall colors. I've got the orange, the green. I also had the pearl going on to give her a nice little bit of shining, shimmering, splendid, and that will make it perfect. So I am using my heat tool to go ahead and get this to heat up and dry up. Now, if you wanted to let this sit off to the side and dry, you could definitely do that as well. However, I am impatient and I want to actually scrapbook this layout. Now I'm going to take my gold Chroma mist and give it a couple splatters just to give it a little bit more of that shining, shimmering, splendid, because I love a good gold Chroma mist splatter on my scrapbook layouts. So I trim down the edges and I am going to place this on a sheet of black cardstock. Now as you can see, or you might have seen, when I held my paper upside down and pressed it into the black cardstock, some of the gold mist did come out. That's okay, you guys, it's fine. Now I'm just going to make sure to put enough adhesive on that bad boy to get it to stick down. And now these are my card panels, and I am going to mat them on some black cardstock as well. So I really love the look of matting things on black cardstock. There's definitely a pop that it gives the layout instead of just everything kind of running into each other. Because of the colors of the background and the colors of the foil, everything would just kind of turn into one big pile of fall mess. Like it would look like just a big old pile of fall leaves, and I figured I needed that little bit of differentiation to get that pop in there, especially since my photo is going to span across the foil card panels. That's really going to allow it to pop and stand out. So I add a little bit of fun foam to the back of my photo. I'm lifting it off the page just a little bit. Now you did see that stencil go down. That's just to give it another layer of dimension and texture on that background. So it's not just that mottled paint effect, it just gives it a little extra oomph. Now I am going to use this stamp to go ahead and stamp out a bunch of different flowers. This is a mum, I believe. I think it's a mum. It looks like a mum, so if it's not a mum, I'm sorry, but it looks like a mum. Okay, so I am using my Brutus Monroe Raven Detail ink to go ahead and do that. Now these bits that I'm stamping on are actually watercolor paper, and I have trimmed them down so that I can go ahead and do a little bit of very messy loose watercoloring on them to give them a little bit of color. And I'm also going to stamp out this sentiment, and it says happiness blooms from within, and I'm just doing that on a sheet of white cardstock. I chose not to do it on the watercolor paper for that because I want the sentiment to be a little bit crisper, and you know, the watercolor paper that I'm using has nooks and crannies. It is not a smooth watercolor paper, so I didn't want to stamp that on there. I decided to go ahead and stamp out a couple of leaves as well. So I've got the viney one and these two other ones. And how beautiful is that they fit on that sheet of watercolor paper so beautifully. So now I'm going to put my stamps back into my stamp set and get that off to the side so I can actually get on here and do some things. Apparently, I did not do what I thought I was going to do. So it's been a minute since I made this layout, and I thought that I watercolored these, and I did not. I just took my inks and laid down some color. Now here is where the watercoloring comes in, where I'm using some aqua pigment and doing it in the center of the flower here just to give it a little bit of depth, I'm guessing. I am not a painter, you guys, and I just kind of do what I think looks pretty okay and make it happen that way. I did the same thing with the leaves, and that looks like a 3-year-old colored in the leaves. I know it does, but once you get them fussy cut out, it looks a lot better. So I'm going to go ahead and get the flowers fussy cut out, and when you're fussy cutting, you want to hold that cutting hand as still as you possibly can. I know it's impossible to keep it still, like statue still, but you want to keep that hand as still as you possibly can. Open and close your scissor blades, and then you want to use the other hand to move around the paper that you are cutting. It's going to give you the smoothest cuts, and it's going to give you the best control over what you're cutting with. Now, there is also a lot of debate on what kind of scissors you should be using when you fussy cut. A lot of people like spring-loaded scissors, some people like tiny scissors, some people like big, huge honkin' scissors. The most important thing, you guys, is that you find a pair of scissors that feels good in your hand. You want something that's comfortable and isn't going to cramp your hand while you're fussy cutting. So if your fingers don't fit in the handles, probably not the best scissors to use to fussy cut. Find a pair that feel comfortable first. And then, as you can see, the fussy cutting happens pretty quickly. Now, if you don't want to fussy cut, even if you've listened to all of those tips and tricks and you're like, no, Sandy, fussy cutting is not my jam, Brutus Monroe does have coordinating dies for the stamp sets, which is amazing. And that way you don't have to worry about fussy cutting. You just put your dies over your stamped image and you get a perfectly cut out image every single time. So that might be more of your thing than fussy cutting. I'm going to make a couple of clusters, one on the upper left and then one on the lower right here. And I'm just going to kind of mix the flowers and the leaves just to give it a little pop of color. So then I go ahead and add on the sentiment right there where it says happiness blooms from within. I'm going to grab some foam letter stickers from my stash. I'm going to spell out the word chocolate because this was a chocolate factory that we discovered as we were driving through Nevada. And oh my goodness, you guys, the candy at this place was amazeballs, amazing. Best cashew brittle I've ever had in my life. And I'm not even I love cashews, but I'm never a fan of cashew brittle, but this was amazing. So good that we actually bought some. I also am going to add in a couple of these little bauble guys. These come in a 6-pack from the Brutus Monroe shop. As you can see, I love my little bauble guys, and I'm almost out of them, so it might be time to order some more. And that is going to do it for this layout, you guys. Thank you so much for joining me. Let me know if you have any questions down below, and I will see you guys again real soon for another video.